The temperature is rising, the pressure is building, and it's because of you. Welcome to the Mindset Elevator, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by on this elevator as we continue to ascend to these higher places, to these higher realms where we want to be who we want to be and make the best sort of impact on this planet to serve humanity. Let's talk about that real stuff, right? Let's talk about the impact that you have on other people around you. And going further, let's talk about how you apply a lot of pressure to people in various dynamics that you might be attached to or a part of, okay? You add a lot of pressure because when people see how hard you work, when people see how studious you may be, how much of a go-getter you are, how you're very resilient. So even when things don't work out the way that you thought, you don't stop. You keep going. You go after what you want, and you're not really trying to stay stagnant for too long or dormant for too long. A lot of people see that in you, and it applies pressure to them because they feel like, well, hey, I could upgrade a few things. I can try to, change my life in a few ways. And you make people feel like they have to cut to the chase or race against you so that they can somehow acquire what you have or fashion themselves to you, do what you do it in the way that you do it, go about in the way that you go about it. You apply a lot of pressure. A lot of people feel like they got to change everything that they do. They got to change even down to the attire, like change how they present themselves because of how they see you presenting yourself. And oftentimes it's never going to work. It's not going to work where you just copy somebody and then poof, you're like them. You have the likeness of them. No, anybody can impersonate anybody out here, but the spirit cannot be replicated. But yes, I'm telling you, you add a lot of pressure. A lot of people feel like they got to change everything about themselves so that they can, because they see what you get. They see what you get. They may see that though you might be very tired, though you might be very concerned about certain aspects of your life, you're not really trying to stay down. You're not staying down. You're not staying sad. You're getting up and you're doing what you got to do. You're taking care of your responsibilities. You have a better mindset. So even when things go awry in your life, it's not to where it's so damaging that you cannot come back from it. You add a lot of pressure to people who accept the mess. They accept the mess. They accept the turmoil that it takes residence, it takes over their life. And now people see that, wow, like no matter what she or he went through, they're getting through it and they're getting through it like bosses. They're not even struggling, It's not like this slow, you're not crawling out of the rubble, you know what I mean? You're coming out on top on your own 2 feet victorious with a clear mind, even after all the mayhem that you just went through, all the chaos, all the stoppages that you may have went through. You're coming back triumphant, And so people feel like, wow, like that's pressure because there's a lot of bad things going on in my life and I'm sleeping them away. I'm not tackling the issues. I'm not healing the inner problems that I have. I'm not eradicating the demons that take over me that actually have a hand in how I treat other people out here, the choices that I make in this world, right? You add a lot of pressure for people to be better, for people to be greater. And it's just like this might be completely unbeknownst to you for real. Like you may not even realize that you're adding so much pressure to people. A lot of people feel, and that is why as well, a lot of people will act kind of strange around you when you talk about your ventures, when you talk about your upgrades, when you talk about what you're studying, when you talk about what you're learning, right? A lot of people feel like, wow, because in my personal opinion, not everybody may share these sentiments and that's completely fine. But in my personal opinion, a lot of people are doing things that they really don't want to do. And it's not like they're happy with it. Like there are some people who are doing things that everybody else does and they're completely happy, all right. But then there's some people who really wish they could live in their full life's purpose here and they feel like they cannot and they're kind of bitter about it. They kind of feel upset, they're vexed about it, even though they can change it, but it's almost like it's too cumbersome, or at least they believe it's a mindset thing. They believe it's too hard to overcome. And so when you come around and you are living your best life, you're kind of showing people like your true way of being. how much you've grown mentally, how much you've grown in all aspects of your life. You are not a victim, you know? You don't have those kinds of mentalities that is like, I'm always going to be lacking. I'm always going to be behind. I'm always going to be in last place. Now, when people see you, they see a rejuvenated you. They see a more positive you, a more optimistic you, a more studious you, a more clear-minded you. And it adds a lot of pressure to people who are actually hoarding a lot of negativity and harboring a lot of anger and resentment towards themselves, upset and angry with themselves, and they tend to take this out on the world. So yes, you add a lot of pressure for people feeling like, wow, if they can get through their problems, and boy, did they have many, what's my excuse? And you really make people kind of start fumbling here and make people really start, you know, freaking out. Like, why, how can they change the state of their affairs? How can they make it better? How can they make it livable? Maybe their situation, you know, is completely dire here, but they've been putting bandages on all of their issues, but the cracks will always appear. The scars are there, the problems are there, and they're not going away and they're not fading away because they're not doing the work to get rid of whatever it is that, whatever negativity they've been harboring. You add a lot of pressure for people to feel like, you know, they want to change their lives around. And this is a good thing. This can be an extremely negative, a positive thing. But at the same time, it can have a negative impact on others around you as well. For example, like I said, you're doing well, you're coming around people, you're showing people what you're made of, you're showing people that you're not down and out anymore, you're not sad anymore, you're not hiding away, you're kind of showing who you are, showing what you're made of. And a lot of people are gonna take it in a negative way. Like, wow, like, why does he or she have to be like that? Why do they have to move like that now? Because it kind of exposes how they are or what they're not doing enough of, right? So a lot of people are just going to be a little bit vexed when you start talking about your initiatives, your achievements, what you're working on, what you're going to school for, your new business, right? I'm telling you. And so you add a lot of pressure, and a lot of pressure was probably put on you for a long time. And this is why you're so solid and you're so, your spine is cement-like. You're not really going anywhere, and you're not going to be touched anymore. A lot of times people put a lot of pressure on you, pressure to overperform, to be better, to be greater, right? Maybe you grew up with family members, mothers, fathers, grandparents, whoever, who were very strict and who were very, very authoritative. You know, you had to do this way. You must do this. If you don't do that, you're a nothing. You're a nobody. You're no member of ours. You're going to be shunned and all this type of nonsense, right? And so a lot of times it's been instilled in us, imprinted on us to be high achievers and to feel sad when we get rejected or when we don't perform well. But that has been dissipated now. Now you're kind of in this mode here where you're kind of just doing your thing. You're doing what you love, how you love to do it, how you love to go about it, going where you want to go and not caring who has a problem with it. That adds a lot of pressure for people who are still in that old zone, that old way of thinking, believing, you know, that this has to be only one way. This has to only be this way. And if you don't do it this way, you know, and they want to be a part of something and they all stay very codependent while you're kind of like out here doing your own thing. It adds a lot of pressure to people who try to make you be only one way. You must follow the herd, and that's all there is to it until you're the one that's, you know, surpassing a lot of these people, surpassing people you grew up with, surpassing people at the workplace, people who you may have been under at first. I'm telling you, add a lot of pressure to people who feel like they're better than you, they have more than you, because there's certain things that you have that they've never acquired or they've never worked on. And so this is a thing, a lot of people feel a lot of pressure, like, what? I never thought I had to work on this. I never thought I had to change this about myself. I never thought I had to upgrade this, change my mindset about this. This is why I've been lacking. This is why I've been sad. This is why I've been down. This is why I cannot have good romantic relationships, you know, but you're kind of like the mascot, the cheerleader. You're kind of like the person people really look up to. You're the type of role model without even knowing that you're being a role model, even maybe shying away from that role model role. It's like you add a lot of pressure. You add a lot of pressure for people to just kind of look at themselves and their lives and be like, nah, And so it could have great effects and it could have adverse effects. And the thing about it is that the pressure's been building, the pressure's been building. And when you go around people, this is why they trip. This is why they act kind of crazy around you. They say a lot of things that are very demeaning in nature, things that seem very underhanded, things that seem very spiteful, or they'll even take spiteful actions towards you. And it's because you add a lot of pressure. So they want to bring that pressure down. They really want to, it's like, think about if you have a fever, you want to do anything to bring that fever down, because the symptoms that come from that, the way the body is when there is a fever, when there is an infection, right? The body, the heat and the coldness and the muscle aches, you want to get rid of all those feelings that you don't like. And sometimes you got to take medication, drink water, do whatever you got to do to get your temperature to go down, right? To go back to a normal level. And this is what it is. Like, you add so much pressure and you make everything so hot and make everything so uncomfortable sometimes inadvertently, because you're just doing your thing. There's a lot of pressure building, and there's been pressure building, but this is the type of pressure that cannot be wished away. It cannot be, remedied away with a medication or with just water or, the regular things that, would work for a physiological condition here. This is simply something where you're not stopping. You're not about to stop. You're not about to just stop living your best life. You're not about to just stop living your truth and living your best life and going after what you want because people can't handle the pressure. That's a them problem. They just got to go within, do the work, and understand that, yeah, pressure's building around you. What are you going to do with your life, and live your best life as well, and stop the hating and stop the gossip and stop the drama and keep going up. Yeah, you're a diamond. I'm telling you, you are a rare gem, a rarity in your community, a rarity in the dynamics that you hold dear, the dynamics that you are a part of, either voluntarily or involuntarily. You are a diamond. You are a gem. All right. So you got to shine bright like you are, and you got to be humble with it. You got to move right with it. You got to have confidence. You got to keep believing in yourself. All right, guys, keep going up. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by on the Mindset Elevator. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting the Mindset Elevator. To all the new subscribers, reoccurring, and everybody who stops in once in a while, even on the live streams, the comments, I see all of that. And I really appreciate you guys' support. It's heavily appreciated. I love doing YouTube, and I love being on here, connecting with all of you. It's a growing community, and I can only be very thankful for that. So thank you very much, guys. Keep going up, and we'll see each other soon. Okay, bye.